On this episode of DPV, we're making a custom H-pipe for Clyde. Welcome to DPV. I'm Josh, and today we're working on Clyde. My 1998 GMC crew cab 1-ton dually. This is the workhorse for the DPV garage. So I love this truck, but it needs some TLC. And today we're working on the exhaust, because check this out. Look at that nasty old rotted muffler. Oh, there's the tailpipe. Yeah, that's an issue. Want to hear how bad this sounds? So yeah, it's just really airy sounding, rotted up muffler. So I ordered some parts from Summit. Got some Summit Racing mufflers, and then a universal dual exhaust kit that's all mandrel bent. And so hopefully got all the pieces I need to figure this out. There's 4 of the 4-foot sticks, 4 45s, 4 90s, 4 180s, and one end of each one has kind of the female end for it to slip in there. See? Might end up with a few butt welds where I can't slip the two together, especially getting over that rear axle. I'm not 100% sure how to route it over the rear axle because, see, I've got airbags. So that kind of narrows up where I can go. And then the spare tires here. It's going to run both dual exhausts out the passenger side, but there might not be room to run 2 pipes. But first thing I want to do is cut the exhaust off, because you got to do that. And then we're going to build an H-pipe, a crossover pipe. Because currently with this factory exhaust system, it collects at the muffler and that kind of balances out, you know, the right and left bank. And also means that the driver's side pipe is much longer than the passenger side because it crosses over to the passenger side. I want to try to balance out that length. So we're going to do a crossover pipe right before the mufflers. So that's what we're going to do first. So cut off the exhaust and then figure out this crossover pipe, which I did not buy a crossover pipe. We're going to try to build one custom. All right, rule number 1 about doing exhaust is immediately after you cut the exhaust off, you must fire it up and see what it sounds like. Yeah, I don't think that muffler was doing anything because it doesn't sound any louder to me. So, all right, time to build that H-pipe. After much deliberation with myself, I figured out where I'm going to put the mufflers and how I'm going to position them. On the Jeep, I ran them kind of flipped up on edge, and it worked out pretty well. And that's what I'm going to have to do with the truck in order to have room to fit them both. So the muffler is going to be sitting like this, and then that also kicks it up enough to get it up over the axle. Let's see if I can show you under the truck. So about like that. See, there's this pipe, so I don't have room to run it flat because it gets into the frame there, or the drive line there. So I'll do that, and that kicks it up high enough. I think it'll go up and over the axle back there. So now I know the dimensions I need for the crossover pipe. So it's from where I cut it off to the muffler there, or the inside where the pipes can insert into the muffler, 22 inches. So I can cut those lengths and figure out where I want to put my crossover pipe, cut the holes and weld it up. Alright, so this is how I like to try to get a straight line, a straight square cut on round tube. So from the factory it's already got a nice square end. What I do is I just measure from that square end, make a mark in a few different places around the tube, and then use the blue tape and connect the dots basically, and you can get a nice straight line. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Like that. Just cut right along the blue tape and be nice and square. Alright, so the crossover pipe is from center to center 7.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut another one at 7.5 inches, and then I'll be able to notch it for the horizontal pipes or whatever, you know, the exhaust pipes, because in between it's going to be 3.5 inches. So from notch to notch 3.5, but long point to long point should be theoretically 7.5. It'll probably be a little bit shorter. Alright, so this is going to be our crossover pipe. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. Basically try to cut a 45 here and here. That. Gotta use the grinder to the flap disc to round it out so the pipe can pass through right here. Alright, so it's been a little while since I've done this, so I try to remember. Thought I remembered something about a third of the pipe, but that didn't work out. So I went straight from the center line for the 45, but this will end up getting rounded off. You can imagine that, like, because this is 3 inches and the pipe that goes through here is 3 inches, like there's no way that this is actually going to make it to the center line. So that's why it will end up being a little bit short of the 7.5 inches from center to center. This is still measuring a little bit big, but that's okay. It'll give me room to, make it fit good with the grinder. So now we're just gonna hack these off at that middle line there and see how it works out. That looks pretty dang good. Alright, it's coming together. So now what I gotta do is trace out the holes on these pipes, cut out the hole just slightly smaller than the outside diameter of this. That way it'll still butt up solid and have plenty of metal to weld to. But this is gonna look sweet. Alright, now I gotta figure out how to cut. I gotta cut like almost probably 3/16 of an inch inside that line. Maybe an 1/8 inch will do. You can always grind it out more though, so. Alright, see what I can do. So that's actually really, really good. See, it's almost perfect on the inside. Just gotta grind out right there and there. But I'll get the other one cut while I got the cutoff wheel on. Pretty dang good. Alright, so I'll get it clamped down to the table and weld her up. Alright, first time welding thin gauge stuff with this bad boy, and I think it did a pretty good job. So I'll buzz it with the wire wheel and clean it up since I am using flux core. But I'm excited. This is one of the coolest projects I've done in a while, I think. So we'll get that cleaned up and then we will see how it looks under there and weld on the mufflers. The little dingleberries welding splatter doesn't really pop off the aluminized finish very well, so I think when I weld the mufflers on, I'm gonna try the anti-spatter spray. Wow. And see if that helps. I'm not super worried about it looking great because it is just a work truck, but I mean, I like it to look a little bit better than that. That's a lot of splatter. So we'll try the anti-spatter spray on the mufflers. Alright, so that's how we're gonna position them. Man, it looks cool. Alright, well Napa only had one muffler clamp, so I wasn't able to finish up yesterday, but I got it this morning. And I think it looks pretty dang good. The H-pipe with the Summit mufflers. So now on the next episode, just got to run those two up and over the axle and out the back there. We'll just have dual tips coming out right here. So looks pretty stinking sweet, I think. Anyway, Clyde's getting a new exhaust. It sounds good. Oh, I haven't shown you what it sounds like yet. Let's listen to this thing. It sounds pretty good. Well, minus the belt squeak, sounds pretty good. So anyway, on the next Clyde episode, we'll be finishing the dual exhaust, so stay tuned for that. Pretty excited to finally give the old 1-ton some love. Alright, that's it for this episode. Wheel it, wreck it, wrench it, repeat. We'll see you next time.